The bus hissed as it pulled away, leaving Daniel Harper standing on the curb with his interview folder pressed to his chest and his heart pounding like a countdown clock. In exactly 30 minutes, he was supposed to sit across from a panel that could change his life forever. Then he heard the sound that stopped him cold, a sharp cry of pain, followed by the hollow scrape of metal on concrete. A girl in a wheelchair had tipped sideways near the intersection. Her chair lay awkwardly tilted, one wheel spinning uselessly in the air. Cars passed. People glanced, hesitated, then looked away. Daniel's feet moved before his brain could argue. He dropped his folder, crossed the street, and knelt beside her. "Are you hurt?" he asked, breathless. She winced but shook her head. "I'm okay. I think the curb caught my wheel. I just need help getting upright." Daniel steadied the chair and gently lifted, careful not to jolt her. Once she was settled again, he noticed her hands trembling, not from pain, but from embarrassment. She looked about his age, maybe late 20s, dressed simply, hair pulled back, eyes sharp and tired all at once. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Most people don't stop." Daniel glanced at his watch. 22 minutes. His stomach tightened. "Do you need help getting somewhere?" She hesitated, then nodded. "I'm supposed to be across the plaza. The elevator at the pedestrian bridge is broken. It always is." Daniel looked toward the bridge, then back at her. Helping her would mean missing the interview. He had prepared for months, rehearsed answers, borrowed a suit, convinced himself this was his one real chance out of a string of dead-end jobs. His phone buzzed with a reminder notification, bright and merciless. "I can push you around," he said finally. "There's a longer ramp route. It'll take time, though." She studied his face, as if weighing the cost of his kindness. "You don't have to. I know," he said. "But I want to." They moved slowly through the plaza, navigating cracked sidewalks and impatient crowds. Daniel apologized each time the wheels caught or bumped. She laughed softly, easing his tension. "I'm Maya," she said. "And you are?" "Daniel. What were you rushing to?" she asked. He exhaled. "An interview. Big one." Her eyes widened slightly. "Then why are you here?" He shrugged, pushing through a narrow gap between planters. Seemed like the right thing. The ramp route was longer than he expected. Sweat dampened his collar. His phone buzzed again, then went silent. The interview time passed somewhere between a stuck revolving door and a delivery truck blocking the sidewalk. Daniel felt a wave of disappointment crest and settle into a dull ache. Still, he kept going. At last they reached the building across the plaza, a sleek tower of glass and steel. Maya pointed toward the entrance. "You can leave me here. Security will help." Daniel nodded, relieved and oddly sad. He straightened, brushing his hands on his trousers. "I hope your day gets better." She smiled, a real one this time. "It already has." He walked away, shoulders heavy, replaying what-ifs in his head. By the time he reached the bus stop, his folder felt useless. He stared at the street, wondering how one good deed could cost so much. The next morning, his phone rang. Unknown number. "Daniel Harper," a woman's voice asked. "Yes. This is Lydia from Horizon Systems. We had you scheduled for an interview yesterday. You didn't arrive." Daniel swallowed. "I know. I'm sorry. Something came up." There was a pause. "Could you come in today?" His heart jumped. "Yes, absolutely." An hour later, Daniel stood in a polished conference room, palms damp, suit still wrinkled from yesterday's disappointment. The door opened, and the interview panel filed in. Last, through the door was Maya, rolling smoothly to the head of the table. Daniel froze. She met his eyes, recognition flashing, then warmth. "Good morning, Daniel," she said. "I'm Maya Chen, CEO of Horizon Systems." The room seemed to tilt. Daniel opened his mouth, then closed it again. Maya addressed the panel. "Before we begin, I'd like to explain why we rescheduled this interview." She told them about the broken elevator, the curb, the crowd that walked by, and the man who missed something important to help a stranger with no expectation of reward. She spoke calmly, but her voice carried weight. "At Horizon," she continued, "we value skill. But we also value character." Daniel showed me who he is when he thought no one was watching. The interview itself was still rigorous. They asked about his experience, his failures, his gaps in employment. Daniel answered honestly, no longer trying to impress, just telling the truth. Maya listened carefully, occasionally asking a pointed question that cut straight to the heart of his thinking. When it was over, Daniel left the building unsure of everything. That afternoon, the call came. They offered him the job. Weeks later, Daniel settled into his new role, learning fast, working hard. Maya remained demanding but fair, never mentioning the plaza again. On his first anniversary, she stopped by his desk. You know, she said, people think leadership is about titles and power. But it's really about who you choose to help when it costs you something. Daniel smiled. He understood now. Missing that interview had not closed a door. It had opened the right one. And somewhere in the city, a broken elevator was finally being fixed.